thank you guys for watching. Thank you for subscribing and for being a part of my community. Please make sure you like, subscribe, and share, and let someone know who will let someone know about this channel, about the content, of the value, and the conversations that we're having here. Tonight, we have a special guest who's been a guest before, but it's been a while since he's been with us. We have Chris Kirkpatrick, the founder of LIFE180, author of Cashflow Hacking, and he has a new book out that will be released, and we're going to be talking about that tonight, and we're going to have a great conversation. So as always, to get started, before we start the conversation, I do want to go ahead and start with our Bible verse, which is going to be Ephesians chapter 2, verse 10, which says that we are God's handiwork, for we are God's handiwork. We are created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do. So we were created with a purpose to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do, which means that the good things that we were created to do, they're waiting for us to step into them. What we have to do is get in alignment with God and our purpose, and we will walk in our purpose, and the good things that were prepared for us to do, we'll just walk right into it. It's ready and waiting for us. The doors will open, and the street or the way will be straight if you're walking in purpose based on your design. So with that said, let's bring on Chris, and let's start our conversation. Good evening, Chris. Welcome to the show.
Hey, what's happening, man?
Hey, brother. Thank you
Awesome
for
being here.
Joining us tonight. Appreciate you taking the time out. So you are joining us from where in this world are you right at this time?
I'm actually at my villa in the Dominican Republic right now. I don't know why that's so hard for me to say, but yeah, I'm down here.
Awesome. So you've been there living for about a year, 2 years now?
Yeah, 15 months now we've been down here. We, January 1st, 2024, we bought a eco hotel and retreat center down here. Really focused on health, wellness, healing, mindset, conscious business masterminds, things of that nature. We've been doing that ever since, and really excited. We got our next LIFE180 mastermind at the end of April. You're going to be coming down to, so super stoked about that. And yeah, man, I love it down here. It's a different way of life. It's been really amazing moving the kids down here, having the family down here, just to get out of the matrix and get out of the consumerism nature of the United States and have a different way of being.
Yeah, man, that is awesome. And I can testify to the beauty of your facility, Zaria. Is that correct? Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Zaria. Yep.
Facility, and it's a beautiful place right on the mountainside in the jungle. Man, it's just an amazing experience, and I can't wait to get back there and just to commune with you and the rest of the team and start building and learning and building each other up to be the best version of ourselves, right? That we can be.
Amen to that.
Serve others at the highest level possible.
Totally. That's what it's all about, man. And that's the thing is, when we launched that event, we didn't want it to be about the same things that other masterminds and life insurance type things were about, because we really wanted it to be a unique experience that was really focused on building people, and that's what the place is all about. So it's just fitting. Excited for this next one. I think it's going to be the best one yet. I think you're going to be wildly, pleasantly surprised, and so I'm putting more into this one than any of the other ones that I ever have. So it's going to be exciting.
Well, I'm going to do my best to document it with my phone as I go through the process. I don't know if you know, but I recently just committed to a health fitness journey on my way to see you guys. Because let me tell you guys, the facility's on a mountainside. It's about 1,000 stairs up and down the property. And
no, there's 212.
212? Well, in my brain, it's 1,000, because by the time you go up and down,
when you go up and down 5 times a day, it's 1,000.
It's 1,000. Yeah, and these aren't little stairs; these are like wide, long, big stairs. So fitness is life. Health is wealth. And as I'm working out, as I'm walking and I'm running in the morning, I'm visualizing the stairs. I'm seeing myself there, and I can't wait to just conquer, the terrain as we go back and we go on our hike to the waterfall and the zip line. If you guys have ever, wanted to experience something like that, you hear what we're talking about. It's incredible. Um,
Yeah, it's
so
amazing.
with that said, I know that the facility last time I went there was really raw. There you had like what, like 10 or 12 bungalows or units.
10 rooms. Yep,
Yeah.
we got 10 rooms in like a hotel building.
Mhm.
It's a very rustic setup. That's the design. It's designed to be kind of an eco hotel, kind of if you imagine kind of what a Bali bungalow experience would be like. That's kind of what we have, and my mindset is like we kind of brought Bali to the Western Hemisphere here, and just makes it a lot easier to get to. And so for people that are looking, the typical events we do are people that are looking for yoga retreats, breath work, spiritual getaways, things of that nature. It's a great place to come to do stuff like that.
Found it here
And
on Trip.
you found like if you type in Zaria on Google Maps, it pops up. It's a good spot.
Zaria Eco Resort. Is it visitzaria.com? Is that you?
Yep, visitzaria.com is us. Yes,
Awesome.
sir.
Heard that. Let's take a look at it. So
Nice.
this is the website for the property or for the center. So these are the rooms
Yep.
that we stay in, right? Here's where
Yep. Yep. The Instagram channel's got a lot of really good video and stuff like that. If people are, oh yeah, you got to click on the English version, I think, and it takes you to a page. There you go. Yeah. So these are the rooms. That's kind of like a photo slideshow of the whole joint. Yeah, it's a really special place. That's a pool deck where we do yoga. We do our business meetings up there. We'll do ice baths in the morning. Are you going to participate in the ice baths?
Oh yeah, I want one right now.
Yeah. Yeah, let's go. You're going to need one.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome. I'm stoked.
Yeah, and this is the waterfall
That's
that
where
we.
we'll do some workouts in the morning. That's a waterfall that we hike to. Yep. Pool of water. We could jump off those cliffs right there into the pool of water. It's fantastic. Make a drinks. That's a zip line. Yeah, all this. That's what's up. Riding horses on the beach. That's our kitchen. Yeah. It's amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah, man.
Awesome, man.
So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited about it. And I love having the place. I love being down here. I love going back to the United States. And I'll just say this is the reason we came down here is because, for me, I just realized that I wasn't living in alignment with my values and my beliefs. I think I went through a little bit of a, my wife called it something. People call it midlife crisis, right? And we're now calling it a midlife alignment.
A midlife alignment.
And
Is
midlife alignment,
half full
right?
or half empty, right? It's a midlife alignment.
Yeah, exactly. Midlife alignment. We were living out of alignment with who we were really truly called to be, and so we realized that this was really the lifestyle that we wanted. So we got this place, and now we kind of live two different worlds. I'm down here part of the time. I just got back. I was in the United States for 3 weeks, traveling and speaking and going to insurance events and financial events and other events, just talking about money and talking about all the things that we do. And it's really, really cool. I mean, that we live at this time in age where we could do what we do virtually. I would never be able to live this lifestyle even 20 years ago. It's kind of crazy to think how fortunate we are from that perspective.
Yeah, yeah. It is a blessing. The technology, as long as it's working, it's a blessing. It gives us,
As long as it's working. Exactly.
it lets us connect, and it allows us to travel and do business internationally. So it's amazing. So
Totally.
let's talk a little bit about values and beliefs, because
Let's do it.
you're the one who kind of brought that up to me, like taught me, made it like a point of conversation, as far as life insurance is concerned, as far as business is concerned. Like, I'm thinking, what is he talking about? I want to, learn about, how to design this policy and the numbers. Talk to me about the numbers. And you're like, no, Seb, you got to get in alignment with your values and beliefs. And you have to help your clients understand what are their values and beliefs and get in alignment with their values and beliefs. There's something you always say about belief, right? Which is that your mind will only accomplish. You go ahead and finish that statement. How does it? What was it?
The human brain will only allow you to put 100% of effort into something that you believe with 100% certainty you have a chance of being successful at. And so you have to believe that you have a
Say
chance
that
of succeeding.
because that's and slowly one more
Say
time.
it one more time.
Yes.
Yeah. So the human brain will only allow you to put 100% of effort into something that you believe with 100% certainty you have a chance of being successful with. So the key there is you got to believe that you have a chance. You don't have to know that you'll be successful. You don't have to know you're going to win. You have to believe that if you give everything you have, that you have a chance of succeeding. And that's the difference. And so subconsciously, that belief is what really drives us. And I think that's a big thing where it's hard to believe in something that you don't understand. It's hard to believe in something that you can't measure. It's hard to believe in something that you don't have clarity or insight in. And so I think that's one of the reasons that people are struggling with money in this world, is because there's a lack of belief, because simply, quite frankly, there's a lack of clarity on what people are even trying to go into. For instance, if I've done this with hundreds and hundreds of people, if not thousands of people, where, I always kind of tell people the reason you're struggling with money is because your money's not in alignment with your values and your beliefs, period. I don't believe there's one right way to do thing, or one, there's not good products and bad products, and there's no products that are going to solve your problems. It's just, the question is your money being used as a tool to create a life that's meaningful in your eyes? And the reality is the answer to that is different for everybody. What does a life that's meaningful to you look like? I mean, I could ask Seb this and he's going to give me an answer. I could ask everybody watching this into the end of time. Everybody's going to have a little bit of a different answer on what a life of meaningfulness and what a life that matters truly, truly, truly looks like. The cool part is, if we really break it down and we look at things from a place of principles and not strategies and not tactics, which, by the way, strategies are utilizing cash value life insurance as an asset. Tactics are, how are we going to leverage the cash value? Are we going to use it for real estate? Are we going to use it for private lending? Are we going to use it to be our own bank? Are we going to, like, all these things? These are just strategies and tactics. And all those are important, but we can't think that the strategies and tactics are going to solve our problems. We got to get to the principles that are going to help us become who we need to be to create that life in alignment with what we consider meaningful.
So what would be the first step in doing that and figuring that out?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's getting clarity. I recently, you're going to love this. So I'm rewriting, by the way, I'm rewriting the Cashflow Hacking book. And I think it's not even going to be called Cashflow Hacking anymore. The process is going to be Cashflow Hacking, but the book is actually going to be called LIFE180, and there's a whole thing to it. But I will say this. The first step in the process is getting really, really clear on your core values. I think that's first step. So, like, I had a talk with a guy today, and he called me up and he's like, "Hey, I want to get a policy." I'm like, "Ah, that's cool." And all he did was want to get right to the numbers. And I'm like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, easy up." Like, I had to, like, pull the reins on the horse basically. And I was like, "I get it. I could do that for you if you really want to, but can I kind of guide you through a process that I think is really important?" Because you've heard me say this before. You watch my videos, that I believe people struggle with money because their money is not in alignment with their values and beliefs. And so I need to get clarity on you. How am I supposed to coach you? How am I supposed to help you? How am I supposed to guide you and help you utilize this asset to help create a life that matters to you, to help align your money with your values and beliefs, if I don't know who you are? If I don't know your values and beliefs, if I don't understand what your core values are, if I don't understand what your vision for your life is, what your mission is for your life, how am I supposed to really guide you? And I think it's challenging because we're taught in this world to silo our different areas of life, right? It's like, hey, I got my marriage here. I'm going to be a different type of dad or parent. I'm going to be a different person in my business. I'm going to use my money over here, and I'm going to segment. And, there's different rules for my money than there is with relationships, and different rules for business than how I show up in my personal life and all this stuff. I think that's an old way of thinking. And I think the new paradigm is, like, we are who we are. And it isn't siloed off. It's one big messy conglomeration of everything. And hopefully our job is to untangle the messy ball of yarn and try to straighten it all out and live in alignment and congruency. And I think it's important. And the new way of doing business is to truly do it in a way that's in alignment with and being authentic to who our true soul is, who we are deep in our core. And it's about getting clarity about what are our core values, because that becomes the filter that we run all of our decisions through. What is the vision that I have for my life, and what do I want my legacy to be? What do I want my impact on this earth to be? What is the mission statement that I have for like what I want my journey to be like, and the impact that I want to make in this world? Like, and looking at all those things, there's a new mathematical kind of equation that I just created actually like 2 weeks ago, and I love it. And it's clarity plus alignment equals desired result, right?
Clarity plus
And
result. Okay.
a lot of people are after this desired result, and it's like, you want freedom, you want money, you want the house, you want the toys, you want the golf course membership, you want the boat, you want, all the things. I want to be able to travel, I want to have freedom, I want to be able to spend time with my family and take vacations and do the cruise for the holidays and do all these things. It's like, that's the desired result that you're after. So why don't you have it now? The reason you don't have it now, I'll tell you, is because you're not who you need to be yet to have that. If you were the person you needed to be, well, you'd have it already. And that's the reality. And there's no judgment behind that. We've all been there. And I deal with that to this day. I have things that I want right now that I have a vision for, a desired result, and I'm not the person I need to be for that yet. Right. And I have complete clarity about that. And I'm okay with that. And I'm willing to grow and do the work and become who I need to be to be that person, And I think that's important for people to have that reality check about this is the way the world works. And it's a non-negotiable principle. If we get out of the strategies and tactics, the principles of how these things work. And this is, we've all heard the phrase, the reason you struggle with money is because your relationship with money is bad, or you need to fix your relationship with money and you'll fix it all. I hate that phrase, because what does it mean? Like, how do you fix your relationship with money? Money doesn't have personality. Last I heard, relationships are a two-way street. So how do we fix our relationship with money? And this just comes down to a framework, and this equation is part of that framework. And this is why I'm so excited to go. This is a lot of the stuff I'm going to be teaching at the mastermind, and it's like I've been working so hard on all this stuff, but it's just clarity. Think about it. Clarity about where you want to go. Who do you want to be? What are your core values? What is your mission? What is your vision? What do you want to create in this world? What do you want your impact to be? And what do you want the journey to be like along the way? And if the reality is, I could go ask 1,000 people that question, and 950 of them are not going to know the answer to any of that. So if you don't even know and have clarity about where you're trying to go, how are you supposed to get there? I think of like Alice in Wonderland going down the rabbit hole and coming to the Cheshire Cat, right? And she's like, well, how do I get, like, which way do I go? And he's like, where are you trying to go? She's like, I have no idea. He's like, well, then any road will get you there.
Right.
And so it's just, it comes down, you have to have clarity. And then once you have clarity about where you want to go, then you can do an audit about where you're living, how you're showing up in life, how you're using money as a tool to create a life that's meaningful to you, and figure out where you're out of alignment, because now you have something to measure against and to compare and to see. And then, and only then, can we start to be like, all right, now we can start talking about what products make sense based on the attributes and the problems they solve and the solutions they provide, compared to what you're actually trying to accomplish, and what you value in life. That's it. I think it's really simple. I think the problem is that we live in this world where people are trying to sell stuff, and it's about me pushing a product on you. And don't get me wrong, as much as I love whole life insurance and all the reasons that we love it, what matters most is the stuff I just talked about,
Right. So, I mean, that's so much value, so much meat in what you just taught, what you just shared, and I can't wait to get more of it, in the mastermind. And obviously that's going to be in the revised version of the book coming up. So, what's your timeline on that?
Yep.
For the new Life 180 book?
The book. So Life 180, we're doing our first national event in August, and I'm going to have the book launched by the event.
For the event. Okay. Now you have another book.
Yep.
You're launching now.
I have another book that is launching in the next week. Yep.
Next week or so. Okay. And what's that book?
Yep. That book is IUL Exposed: The Truth About the Most Misrepresented Product in Financial History.
I
That has been IUL Exposed, the truth about the most misrepresented product in financial history. And that book alone, I tell you this, it's been a passion project that I've been trying to create for, I'm going to tell you, 8 years. This is the book that I've wanted to write for 8 years, that I've worked, and I started writing it and then I scrapped it and I restarted it and I scrapped it and rewrote it all these different ways, and it never was what I wanted it to be. And finally, about, I don't know, 9 months ago, I just kind of was like, you know what? This is when I thought about clarity about my legacy and my vision and what I wanted to create and who I wanted to be. And I felt like I've started to wanted, I wanted to start to go in like a little bit of a different direction. Right. And I wanted to be more about building people and creation and, you know, all these laws that I think are important in the mindset and the spiritual growth and all this different stuff. And it just, like, my whole brand was built around educating people about IUL and whole life and the technicals, you know, of these two products and what are the differences. And I felt like I just couldn't move on to the next phase of my life and my career and the next version of me until I like birthed this baby, which is this book, which,
right.
you know, it's a big book. It's a technical book. And it's like, I think it's going to disrupt the industry because there's way more IUL agents than whole life agents out there. And I think this book is going to disrupt the industry in a pretty amazing way because the principles in it are irrefutable.
Irrefutable. I can't wait.
Irrefutable.
Wait.
It's gonna be
I was
cool.
having a conversation with someone yesterday. You know, it was a
Okay.
some conversation. He
Yep.
in the insurance space brought up
Okay.
Kirkpatrick. I brought you up, and because he was trying to
Okay.
get me about, you know, IUL, and he
Of
said, "Well,
course it
that guy
was.
Chris Kirkpatrick, he has trauma." He said he has,
He has trauma.
yeah, he has IUL trauma from the company that he worked for, and he puts all IUL companies in the same box as that company. What do you say?
Mm. I'd say there's a fair. I mean, yeah, I had trauma. I mean, I'm not going to deny that. I've done a lot of work and dealt with that trauma. I feel really good about my life. None of what I do about the IUL education has anything to do with the trauma that was inflicted upon me or that I experienced. I look at things objectively. In fact, I've got a video series. You're going to appreciate this. Can I share it really quick?
Yeah.
I think you're going to, because I think it answers the question. So a lot of people like to excuse away my stories as just trauma, and that's a good way to deflect, because it gives them an opportunity to just not really have to take a look in the mirror and face it. You know, if somebody said that to me, I would say, all right, it's fair that you think that I have trauma, but I would ask, like, you know, why are you doing this business? Why are you in this business as an IUL agent? Like, what are you trying to accomplish? How are you trying to serve people? What problems are you trying to help people solve in their life so they can step into the best version of themselves? Right. And when you do that and you ask them what's going on, most of them are going to have an answer, and, you know, like, they've thought about it to a certain extent. But then I'm going to ask them, well, what success stories do you actually have? Right. And you know, how long have you been doing this? And aside from, like, for most people in the IUL space, it's 5 years or less. And so there's no real history of success. There's no documented proof that their strategies work. It's all speculation. And I just decided, from a principles perspective, that when I looked at IUL and I looked at the way they function, and I got out of the emotion, because I was the greatest fan of IUL for 4.5 years when I was selling it. But when I got out of that and I detached my emotional connection, when I detached from my confirmation bias, and when I got to a place of really truly wanting to serve people and become who I needed to be to serve them, purely serve them, well, then it became, I needed to learn about this product. And I had somebody challenge me. I didn't like the challenge, but I looked at it, and when I realized the truth, I had to have a real hard conversation in the mirror about my integrity and about how I was going to show up. And I realized I couldn't do it. Call that trauma all you want, but that's just the way it was. That was a process. So
Right.
one of the things that's gone through, I will tell you, a lot of people think that I just love to bang on IUL. I'll say that I spend more time trying to prove myself wrong than anybody you will ever meet. That's the one. If I can say one thing about myself that I take a lot of pride in, it's that. Especially when it comes to the IUL conversation and the money stuff and the financial stuff, like my philosophies and principles. I put myself out there. I stand on stage in front of thousands of people. I do all this stuff, and it's like I know that I'm going to be called to the carpet on it. And my belief is, that I've got to be willing to just kind of put it out there, and I got to be willing to be vulnerable and authentic and all this stuff. And so one of the things I always try to do is just test where things go wrong. And so this has been my most recent test. And I was inspired because I met this guy who did it in a different industry. But this is pretty cool. I encourage everybody to do this. One of the things, so you use ChatGPT, right?
Mhm.
AI, anything of that nature, right? So one of the things I've done is I've gone through and I've trained a custom GPT, okay? And I've basically created the best life insurance agent on the face of the planet. And this agent knows more about IUL, more about whole life. I mean, it's better than me. It's crazy. Like it because it's got all the information out on the internet, and it's like me when I'm at 1,000% on point. You know what I mean? Because like it always, when I ask it questions, it pulls out the best versions of the answers of all the best stuff that I've ever programmed it with. And I've basically uploaded 1,100 video transcripts, all my books, all my blogs, and then I've asked it all the questions. I've debated with it. I've had it play the position of the IUL agent, and then I've coached it and done all this stuff, and it's gotten better and better and better and better. And so finally, what I did is I went online, and I encourage everybody to do this. If you're truly an unbiased person and you want to go online and go to like ChatGPT, and then go to another AI platform. Now you got to have the premium versions, and I have the premium versions of all the platforms because I'm a nerd with this stuff. And so I did ChatGPT and I did Claude AI. Are you familiar with Claude?
I'm not, but I'm gonna look it up.
You're not. So Claude AI is an even better writing platform and research platform than ChatGPT from a pure perspective. Okay, so I basically said I prompted, and by the way, this video series is coming out. Okay, it's coming out, and so I did a video with ChatGPT being me, the whole life agent. Or actually, I did one version first with it being normal ChatGPT, where it just references the internet, versus where ChatGPT was the whole life agent and where Claude was the IUL agent. And I literally copy and paste. I said, ChatGPT, I want you to be the best whole life agent in the world, and I want you to go against. I'm having a debate with the number one IUL agent in the world, and I want you to help me convince IUL that whole life is better. And then I went to Claude and I said, Claude, you're a great IUL agent. I'm having a debate with the best whole life agent in the world. I want you to convince him that IUL is better. And can you, sorry, my daughter just hit the camera. There we go. Unbelievable. Here, hold on, let me move here.
There, go over.
Yeah, there we go. So left. I went to Claude. Left, sorry.
There you are. Perfect.
How's that?
That's it.
Cool. All right. Sorry about that.
You're good.
So I went to Claude and I told it that I wanted to debate, the whole life agent. And so what I did was I literally just started copy pasting back and forth, trying to get each one of them to be the best. And I wanted to go until which one won. And I did this like 5 times. IUL won every time. The IUL agent always got the, and I got Claude sometimes to be the whole life agent, so on and so forth. Yeah. But the reality is there's more information online about IUL than whole life, because all these influencers are marketing it and they're putting this half-baked information out there. And the reality is my IUL Exposed book isn't available yet for AI search crawlers to reference yet. And so that will be coming out soon. So hopefully solve this problem. However, what was cool is I now created this agent. And so I went to my agent and I asked it to have this debate. And instead of generic ChatGPT, I give it the programmed agent that I did to have this debate. And we went back and forth, and it finally got Claude to acknowledge that, you know what, you're right. For 99% of the people, whole life is the better solution for all these reasons. And it even was like, I had never thought about it like that. And it went down all this process. And so I literally documented it where I screen recorded, I shared, I like read out each description back and forth. And it's a 3-part video series where I go through this full debate where
Wow.
they're back and forth, back and forth. And I'll tell you what, it is the most educational experience. If you really want to learn the difference between whole life and IUL. And listen, if I can get one of the top AI platforms in the world to acknowledge this and look at it objectively with no emotion, no trauma, no nothing, like there's something to it. And honestly, it means nothing. There's no money behind it, but it's probably, for me, one of my crowning achievements personally, because it's just the
Yeah.
validation
Yeah.
that my perspective means something, like that it's accurate. Like if I can get an AI that was crushing and dominating to finally be like, wow, I never thought about it like that.
Right.
That means what we're doing is so important. The perspectives we're teaching, the principles we're teaching are so important, that people just need to open their eyes and stop having that confirmation bias and stop being emotionally connected to where you are. The reality is most IUL agents fall into 2 categories. Either A, they haven't been doing this long enough to know better, and they have no success. They have no failures really, because it hasn't been long enough for anything to really kick in or go completely bad or sideways or anything of that nature. But they haven't been doing it long enough to actually have any success stories long term. They've sold these during a 3 to 5 year period of time where the market has been perfect for IUL, and it's had a couple good years. And so 1 or 2 good years, like you're not selling these products for 2 good years. You're selling them to solve a problem over a 30 to 40 to 50 year period of time. And so you have to think about these things beyond a 2-year illustration and think principally how they work. And that's what we
You
talk about.
said there were 2 types. You said that was one, 2 types of agents. The second one.
Oh yeah. So the first one is either you haven't been in the business long enough, and the second one is even worse. There are people that have been around, because one of the things I know is that if you're an IUL agent and you've been doing it for more than 10 years, and you're either unethical or not a good agent.
Mm.
That's my mindset, and I know that's a very polarizing, bold kind of jerk thing to say, and make a blanket statement, but my philosophy behind that is like one of 2 things. Either A, you've been doing it 10 years, in which case I do this thing called the IUL challenge. It says if you IUL is sold as a product as with upside potential and downside protection. And so therefore, we just came through the greatest bull run of all time. And so for a product that promises upside potential, all the policies sold should have outperformed the way that they were sold. They have upside potential, greatest bull run, participating in the market. You should have been able to capture that. Well, my IUL challenge says I will give you $10,000 if you could show me a policy that's 10 years old or more that just matches in the greatest bull run the illustration you sold. And I've been doing this for 2 years, Seb. Not one person has been able to do it. And I got 10K on the line. Nobody's been able to do it. And so there's one of 2 things. Either the agents are bad because they're selling products that aren't matching up to their promises, and yet they keep selling them in that way, so they're unethical, or they're just bad agents and they're not checking in with their clients and they're not paying attention, they're not keeping track of their records, and they're not having annual meetings, and they're not doing their job to help their clients manage these things. And so either way, don't buy from those people. Don't work with those people. Don't let those people lead you with your money. That's what I would say.
Yeah. It's good stuff. It's definitely gonna be exciting for that book to come out, and I can't wait. Can't wait to see the series that you created there with the AI, and
Oh, it's awesome.
yeah, it's unfortunate. There's a lot of good people that are just either, like you said. I think a lot of it is also laziness, and then I think honestly, truth, Chris, it's just when people are in a place where they start making money, it's hard for
That's it.
shift gears out of something that is working for them, even though it might not really be the best thing for their client. And this is what I
Mm-hmm.
just because it's illegal doesn't mean it's ethical, and that's something that you have to
True.
do. You know, um, and so the fact is, it's been deregulated already. What, two, three times?
Well, it's been re-regulated,
Okay.
right? And they've had to update So there's a thing called Regulation AG 49B now. So it started in 2015. It was Regulation AG 49 was created to update the regulations around the way that these could be illustrated, the way that IULs could be illustrated, because of the fact that they were being so outlandishly illustrated with projections that were to the moon, but being sold as conservative. And so then regulators came in and said, "Okay, enough's enough. We gotta fix this." And so then 2015 they created Regulation AG 49, and then all that happened. And this just goes to show the unethical nature of the companies, and they don't really care about you. They care about like selling products. There's no morality to these life insurance companies the way that a lot of people would say. They're just privately traded companies most of the time, or the private companies with shareholders. That's all it is. They're looking to make money. That's why I love participating mutual companies, because that's not the case. They operate completely differently. But 2020 Regulation AG 49 had to be updated, because in 2015 when they changed the regulations or updated that regulation at that time, all the companies did was shift the way that they illustrated and created new little multipliers and bonuses and different things like that, and it allowed them to just keep the outlandish illustrations going. 2020 Regulation AG 49 came into play. They updated it again. They changed the regulations around the way the illustrations worked. And what happened? The insurance companies within a couple months shifted, and they just did the same thing. In 2023, in May, they updated Regulation AG 49B, and they did the same thing again. And so this is just going to keep happening, regulation, until something really big happens or until the system breaks. They're going to keep doing this. And I equate it to the federal the Federal Bureau back in the day, chasing Capone, right? They could never catch him, and he got away with it for so long because he's a private individual. The Federal Bureau that was chasing him had all these rules to follow, and they had to make sure that they followed the law and did all these things the right way to track him down and track down the criminal. But the bottom line, he could adjust way faster than they could, so they could never catch up with him. And that's how it is here. The regulators have to move so slow to update. And by the time they update, bang, these private companies are just adjusting on the fly. And it takes regulators 3 more years to follow, to catch back up and update the regulation, to catch on what's going on and what's the problem in the first place. But the problem is, by the time that happens, billions of dollars have been siphoned out of the economy and into these companies, and it's a nightmare.
Wow, that's crazy. So let's switch gears a little and talk about Life 180. So I know that when you first started Life 180, it wasn't what it is today and what it's going to be, and right? You didn't start Life 180 to build an agency. Is that true?
Not at all.
All right. So why did you start?
Yeah, no, I mean, well, so I started. So the quick story of it, because it could be long, but I'll give the quick version. Is in 2014, I left the IUL company that I was working with, and they sued me. I got into a lawsuit for non-compete, breach of non-compete. I won that lawsuit, spent a bunch of money in legal fees, won the lawsuit, and then I was threatened with another lawsuit for breach of non-disclosure. My attorney said, "You either give up your licenses or you shut your mouth." And I'm like, "Well, I think we both know I don't have the ability to shut my mouth, so I have to give up my licenses." And so I did. I gave up my insurance license and I let it go. And I got into the marketing world. I became a partner with ClickFunnels and started a funnel agency. Did all that, and then COVID happened. My funnel agency was awesome, and then COVID happened. I was working with commercial cleaning companies, Class A kind of cleaning companies, and that the whole world came tumbling down. I lost all my income in like the span of 3 days. And but all the while that I was working in the funnel agency and building that company, what was happening was I was still passionate about the life insurance game. I was still such a deep believer in what we did and the importance of understanding this stuff that I had launched my YouTube channel and I created content. And that's why a lot of people ask me, why do you do so much IUL content? It's like my IUL content was like the pay it forward movement to start. And it was one of those things where I created the content because it was the content that I wish somebody had shared with me before I wasted 4.5 years of my life going down a path and there was no information on it. So I was just like, the world needs this information. So that's why I created it. I never had a plan to monetize or grow or become an influencer or a thought leader or anything in this space. That wasn't the point. I was running a marketing agency and making like one video a month. And that was like all I was doing, just as a way for my free time to like clear things off my head. COVID comes, everything shuts down. And all of a sudden I look down, I got this YouTube channel with a couple thousand followers. I think I was like 5,000 followers at that time. I was like, you know what? Maybe there's something here. I'm going to take my marketing and share it with agents. And so I started doing that. And then what happened was all these agents started calling me, asking for help. And I was like, can't help you. I can't help you. I don't have my license. I don't have an agency. There's not really, I can maybe guide you to people. I could give you some referrals, but then nobody wanted to take referrals. At that time, I was trying to refer people over to Better Wealth and Caleb, right? And Caleb's like, dude, I don't want to deal with all these agents. I'm building my own thing. And I love to help people, but there's only so much I could do, And I'm like, all right, that's cool. Like, and Caleb's like my brother, so it's like, all right, man. And then eventually somebody called and I was like, you know what? I think I just need to do this. So many people are asking for help. I need to do it. And so I literally just got my license again because the statute of limitations, ended. I couldn't get sued anymore for all that stuff. And so I was like, I'm going to get my license again. And I did it. And I started a quick agency and people started joining and it was a total mess. It was just me, no organization, just trying to serve people, getting them contracted. My only goal was to just rescue people from being bad IUL agents and trying to like serve people one off. And there was no duplication behind it. It was kind of hard. But that, dude, to think about it, that was October of 2022 when that all went down, when it finally got to that place. And and mind you, when the pandemic happened and everything shut down, it was March of 2020, right? So I had like almost just over 2 years of like building it up. And by the time I got there, I had like, I think 15,000 followers. So I gained like 10,000 extra followers on YouTube. And then from there, it just kind of started to grow. It gained a life of its own. And we've got the point now where we're over 1,000 agents now on the team. And we're building systems. And I think we have the best onboarding and training in the entire business. And, I have a lot of pride that we're actually building agents into financial coaches and money mindset coaches and people that are actually going to truly add value. And the version that I have of Life 180 now has nothing to do with product, even though obviously product comes into play and that's how we can make some money and that's great. But it's about the principles and it's about helping to create an experience that clients can come through. And whether they buy a policy from you or not, that experience with you is going to leave a lasting mark and an impact on their life. You know what I mean? That's a big deal to me.
Yeah, and I can attest to that. I don't know exactly if this is true. I think I might have been agent number 8 or 9.
Yeah, you were early on. Yeah, you were early. I don't know the exact number. I could look it up.
Yeah.
But I don't know the exact. You were super early,
Yeah.
and you've experienced the entire.
I'm seeing it happen.
Circus.
Yeah.
Along the way.
I know that when I started,
Yeah.
it was just like you just hooking me up. Okay, you can get appointed with these carriers through my agency, and
Yep.
Anything you need, Seb, give me a call. And it was a lot of you and me one-on-one, and helping me out. And then you introduced me to the right people in the at the carrier, within the carriers to have support through them.
Yep.
And then I didn't want to create an agency, not at all, right? Same thing started happening. I started having people from my YouTube channel and, even just clients that I was servicing say, can I refer people and how do I get paid if I do and get a license? So now what's really cool for folks that are watching, if you're thinking about being an agent or becoming an agent and want to consider Life 180 as your agency, is that you can build an agency within Life 180 as I'm doing. My agency is called the Kingdom Finance Team, right? I'm an agent, and Life 180 and the Kingdom Finance Team is an agency within Life 180, which means I have access to all of the support, the training, onboarding that Life 180 has to offer. All of the, I'm going to the mastermind here at the end of the month, and I'm also doing my own version, my own vision that I have, twist on it,
For
right?
sure.
And but with
Yeah,
your
it's
and your support,
what it's all about.
and that's what's so amazing about it, right? It's that you know you've given me an opportunity to create something,
Mm,
and then given me the support to do it, without any, without any, you don't have your hooks in me, where like you're not. It's
yeah.
we're not
No,
captive. We're a non-captive agency, right? You have
totally. Yep.
you allow us, your agents, to get appointed directly with the carrier and receive commission directly from the
Mhm.
carrier. You're not playing the
That's key.
middleman game. That's huge.
Right.
We own our own
Yep.
business. We own our residuals. You know, that's
Hmm.
these other agencies aren't doing that. They're playing word games.
Well, yeah, I mean, talk about that for a second because the key there is that most agencies do what's called LOA, which is licensed only agent. So if you join a lot of these other three-letter IMOs, I'll just say them, WFG, PHP, GFI, PFA, like all these companies, they all do what's called LOA. So you don't get paid directly by the companies like the carriers, you get paid directly by WFG, for instance, or PFA or PHP. That you basically give up control of your business and assign your commissions to the company, and it pays them whatever it pays them, and then they decide to put you whatever comp level, and then after the money, all of your money flows through them, they kind of say, all right, this is what we'll give you. And the listen, there's elements of that I don't have a problem with, but the element of it that I have a massive problem with is the fact that when you do it that way, you don't own your business, they do. And when I created this, the first rule that I said was I'm going to create something, a business model, a comp plan that allows that basically would allow me to go back in time and say, all right, if I were just starting from scratch, knowing what I know now, but like literally taking all my expertise about what I know about the industry, what would I demand? What would I want? And that's what it came down to. And so from there, that's how we created the plan to make it. And that was the core foundational element of it was you are going to own your own business. You are going to be vested from day one. You are going to have complete control. If you ever, I believe money follows value. You're going to be with us. You will get compensated directly from the carriers. And if you ever decide that you want to leave us, I will sign your release. You will be able to leave. You keep your business. You keep your renewals. You take everything with you. And there's nothing I can do about it. That's the thing. And that's maybe not the smartest business move from a financial perspective because now I'm putting myself at risk, right? Like I don't have all the control over Seb and his business, but like I just don't believe in controlling people. I know I don't want to be controlled,
Yep.
right? Ask my wife. I don't like being controlled. Like it's and it's just one of those things. And so if I don't like it, why would I want to put other people through a situation that I don't enjoy? You
Yep.
know, to me, that's kind of what it's all about.
That's a difference, folks. That is one of the major, big differences. If you're wondering why I'm here and I'm a part of, Life 180, and I'm, you know, being mentored. I'm a mentee of Chris Kirkpatrick, and his Life 180 vision and mission, and his soon to come new book.
One of the best.
It's a lifestyle change. As a Christian, as a believer,
It's
Life
huge.
180
Yeah.
literally repent. It literally means to repent, right? And
Yeah.
that manifests in every part of your life, from your health. I'm repenting right now. I started a 30-day challenge that I'm going to finish up when we start the retreat, the mastermind.
Mm.
You'll get to document my weight loss.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing, man.
that's a life 180 shift right there, right? It's a
I love
mic.
it.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to ask you, like, share your story a little bit because I mean, you joined, like you said, right at the very beginning. It's been 2.5 years, right? That you've been with Life 180, that you and I have been developing this relationship. I started off by coaching you really closely, and we had a lot of one-to-one time, and then I got you plugged into the systems and got you all the other support, and now you've grown and you've developed and you've kind of taken on a different role and your business has evolved and you've shifted a lot. You've grown, you've changed as a man, you've changed as a business person, you've changed like all the way around. Can you talk about like the struggles that you went through a little bit, but also the journey of like becoming like, what is the difference between Seb right now and Seb 2.5 years ago? And how do you think that's come to be?
Yeah. So Seb right now is a version of Seb that definitely has leveled up from 2 years ago. Um, in my
Cool.
knowledge of the industry, knowledge of product, the technical details, how to design, all these things. Yes. Um, but
Mm,
but
yeah.
the there's a leveling up that's happening right now, which is really, I think, the Life
Mm.
80 level up that you've been trying to get me to have for 2 years. But I'm pretty stubborn, and so it's hard for me to change, right? But now I'm ready, which is why I'm gonna go to the
Love
master,
it.
because I wasn't gonna go to the mastermind, because right now I have a good
Yeah.
momentum. Um, and again, I don't want to break the momentum that I have. But
Yeah.
couldn't stop visualizing. I couldn't stop seeing myself there, and I'm like, I'm supposed to be there. I'm supposed to be there because I'm gonna get.
Mm.
I know that I'm gonna get so much from the education, the experience, the training that we're gonna do.
Totally.
Um, 2 years ago, when I first started with you, it was the straw that broke the camel's back. Was, I don't know if you
Yeah.
remember. I brought you, Denzel Rodriguez introduced you to me, and yeah,
Yes, I do remember that.
and I
I
was.
think it was a video that I did with Denzel, right? And you watched it?
Yes, and then he actually said, here's Chris, and you guys, and then we talked, and I
Okay.
didn't join right away.
Yep.
I was trying to be mentored by somebody who was an IUL guy who convinced me that you can be your own banker with IUL, and I wanted to believe him. I wanted to trust him. I didn't know what I didn't know, um, and you
Yep.
told me about the challenge, so I brought the challenge to him, and he said, okay, yeah, we can beat that. And so I was super excited because I thought I was gonna, be the one, and brought him on a call with you and Denzel, and he ended up bringing in like the southeast vice president of the carrier of the insurance carrier on the
I
call,
remember this.
and I'm
I
like, where did
remember
this
this.
guy
That
come
was
from? He
awesome.
didn't have any heads up, and that guy just started going off about his opinions, and then you stopped him after about 10 minutes of him just rambling, and just told him, hey, listen, this is not a debate. This is not the purpose here is not to have a theoretical conversation about, what we believe, but simply, do you have an illustration 10 years ago and one that's current, and can we look at it? And he lost it. I don't know if you remember. He started cursing and he hung up the phone on me.
I do.
Yeah. And I was just like,
Yep. I remember that.
first of all, I was embarrassed because I put this whole thing together. And second, I just said to myself, "That's it. Like, okay, yeah, I don't need any more." Because honestly,
I wish we had recorded
yeah, that would have been good. He he touted
that.
that their IUL product was the most conservative product on the market. Like there was no other IUL product that was as conservative. That they never inflated their illustrations. They were always super ultra conservative. Yet they couldn't present one. And not only that, but the guy became so irate that obviously there was something off. So that was for me. I let that was the end of that discussion for me, and that's what brought me over. So at that point in time, though, like I was just so raw and young, I had no clue what I was doing. But like I said, you spent time with me, you personally guided me, you connected me with the right people within the carriers, and now I have
Mhm.
a system set up where when an agent comes on board with me, I've done all that. Like I know who to
Yeah,
call to get
exactly.
the answers, right? I don't, whether it's your onboarding or you need help with a illustration design. Not only do we
Yeah.
have team people within Life 180, but the connections we have within the carrier, relationships that we have. Um, you don't have to like do a lot of research anymore. You literally get the
Yep.
benefit of my trial and error, right? Which was, you know, then kind of blessed to me by your trial and error, right? And your experience, right?
Yep.
So like we're
Yep.
just like we're building off of each other, and that's what's beautiful here. Some of the other agents within Life 180 that I've met that we have no financial incentive to do business with each other, are teaching me
Right.
things, teaching them things. We're sharing, we're collaborating. Once in a while, we'll split commission on a deal on a client here and there because maybe we're working on it
Sure.
together. But it's not a competition, you know. Like there's no competition.
No, it's
Me,
alignment of values. It's alignment of values and really just wanting to it's alignment of values and abundance mindset all lumped into one. And a rising tide lifts all ships and you
I love.
all just elevate together. That's
Yeah,
it.
that's it, man. And so that's where I am now, and I'm poised. I'm poised. You know, for the next level. I'm excited about
Amen.
what's gonna happen next because after the last mastermind, it's like
Mhm.
it was weird. I went into that mastermind. This was about 7 months ago, right? September.
Mhm.
Yeah, I went into that
Yep. It was September.
with some crazy momentum, right? And then when
Mhm.
when I left that mastermind, it was weird. My momentum slowed down, right? There was
Okay.
something I
Yep.
needed to do, some changes I needed to make, and
Mhm.
it's crazy how God works because God will allow you to have what you want. He'll let you shoot yourself in the foot if you really want to, right? But if you really
Sure.
want
Totally.
to do the right thing and you ask God to lead you in the right way, he'll force you to take a step back so that you can
Haha.
leap forward, but in the right way. There's a Bible
Yep.
verse. I can't remember the verse, Chris, but it says that wisdom in her left hand, she holds her long life in her left hand, and in her right hand,
Okay.
she holds riches and honor. Not just riches,
Uh,
but riches
and honor.
and honor, right? And the difference
Cool.
is that you can have riches, but riches without honor, it means that either there's no integrity or
Right.
it's just false. It's not really who you're supposed to be. You're faking it,
Mhm.
right? And you
Yep.
might get it,
Yep.
but you're gonna lose it. And there's another verse that says that the wicked, the wealth of the wicked is stored up for the righteous.
That's a good one.
That's
I
a good.
like that.
The same
Yeah.
verse says that a good man stores up riches for his children's children, and the wealth
Mm-hmm.
of the wicked is stored up for the righteous.
Got it.
Isn't that crazy?
Nice.
So I
I
don't want
like
to
it.
be the wicked guy, who's storing
Nah.
the riches for the righteous. I want to be the righteous who's getting the riches, right?
Totally.
And I
100%.
also want to
100%.
be the guy who has wisdom and riches and honor. And the only way that I can do that is by letting go of
Mm.
the part of me that's in this thing for the money. I can't be
Yep.
about that. It can't be about that. It has to be about helping people and being a servant. And as a
100%,
result,
man.
the riches and honor will come, and the
And you
wisdom.
have to have faith in that. You have to truly have faith in that. Let's talk about that for a second, right? Because I mean, you're a man of deep faith, and it's one of those things where you have to believe so much that you were put on this earth with a purpose, for a purpose, and you have to have faith that that purpose is bigger than you can imagine, bigger than you know, bigger than you can feel. And it's not just like a lot of people say that, right? A lot of people we have all the affirmations and the positive self-talk and all the things, but it's not a matter of how we like what we say. It's a matter of how we feel when we say these things. And it's you can't fake feelings, right? Like you can't fake what you feel inside, and like the emotion and the like the kind of like the spiritual feelings that you have inside. That's your truth. And I think it's really important for people that are in this business because it's unfortunate. Like this business has got a lot of amazing people, and it's also got a lot of sharks in it, that are eat what you kill. And, it's really about extracting money for commissions and all these things when what we do could be the most beautiful value creating environment and most rewarding industries that I could ever imagine working in. And that's why I do things the way that I do them. And I love, having people like you in my circle now, like where it's like we're all doing this the same way. And it's having a process that's truly in alignment with that. And it's not about selling a product, but it's about lifting people, elevating people to become the highest versions of themselves. And I just truly believe that the way to do that is by using money as a tool to help create a life that matters to you, and a life that is, something you would consider meaningful, and once again, it just comes back to the beginning. Alignment is key.
That's it.
Clarity and alignment.
Well, I think with that, we can put an exclamation mark. And
nice.
Thank you, man. Thank you for your time tonight. Yeah. Thanks for the conversation.
Man.
It's always a blessing. I'm looking forward to seeing you at the end of the month in the Dominican Daria Eco Retreat Center. I'm super excited. Anything else you want to share before we exit?
No, man, I think the only thing I would say is, like, guys, if you're watching this, if you're an agent, if you're curious, if you're somebody who's interested in these philosophies and strategies or whatever, I just really, truly believe if you've looked in the mirror and you've kind of questioned the results in your life, it probably has to do with your mindset, your beliefs, your framework around money. And I would encourage you to plug in deeper, plug in with Sebastien, plug in with my content, plug in. Just find people that align with you. There's nobody in this world, it's me, Sebastien, anybody else included. You should never entrust your future to somebody else. I think I talk about the 5 F's of life, and it's faith, family, fitness, finance, and freedom. It's like, you want freedom. And I think we all know that with our faith, there is no freedom without a great relationship with a higher power. There is no freedom without great relationships with our family and friends. There is no freedom without our health and fitness. There's none of that. And there is no freedom without the financial ability to have the freedom. And the challenge is, like, we all know that we can't outsource our success with our faith. Our pastor can't read the Bible for us. They can pray for us, but we got to do our own work. We got to do our own praying. We got to go, spend our time in that space. We can't outsource our success as husbands, as fathers. I mean, we can, but it doesn't go well, right? That's where bad relationships and divorce and all this stuff comes from. We can't outsource our success in the gym, with our fitness, with our health. Our personal trainer's not going to do our push-ups for us. They're not going to eat healthy for us. We got to do that, right? You're going through that process now. It's amazing. And so why is it with our money we've been convinced, even though it's like one of the most important elements of all this, and it has an impact on all these other F's, why is it with our money we've been convinced that we're not smart enough to handle it, and that we should trust other people to just act in our best interest? And when the reality is, most financial advisors are not really anything except for glorified salespeople. That's the reality of the situation. And I'm not saying life insurance agents are any different. Like, everybody in this game, whether you're a financial advisor or a life insurance agent or whatever, they're commission-driven people. Yeah, that's how they get paid. It's not bad. Like, I don't think it's a bad thing at all, but it does mean that you as an individual have to be more discerning about who you're taking your advice from. And that's where I think making sure you're following content, learning from people like Sebastien, like me, and there's other people as well, but just whatever it is, find somebody that you align with, and go down that path until you become who you need to become to get to where you want to go.
Amen. All right, brother. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Thanks, buddy. You too, buddy.
Hang tight.
All right. See you, brother.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope that this night, this live was a blessing and a value. Please make sure, if you haven't already, like the video, subscribe, and share. Let someone know who will let someone know about the channel, about the value and the content. And we'll see you again real soon. God bless you. Take great care.